Since the introduction of the budget cap, Mercedes has lost his mojo. How is this possible, and can they turn it around? What is causing this enormous difference from the era before the budget cap? And most importantly, how about the future of Mercedes in Formula One? Will they be in F1 in 2023? Let's find out in this video. To understand the whole view of the budget problem, first we need to discuss what is the budget cap. The Formula One budget limitation limits the amount of money that each team can spend on performance-related areas of its operation throughout the season. This is similar to the budget cap seen in sports such as the NFL, except instead of limiting player pay, the clubs are restricted in other ways. Teams are prohibited from spending more than a certain amount during a season for a variety of reasons, the primary one being to level the playing field. The cost cap, as it is often known, is a vital aspect of the sport's future. If a team exceeds the cost cap, they will be fined, but the specific penalties are unknown. It depends on the violation and how much they have surpassed the cost cap, as well as which aspects push them over the cost cap, such as crash damage versus performance-related enhancements that provide them a competitive edge. Formula One opted to establish a budget cap since the sport has long been dominated by the wealthiest teams. By instituting a budget cap, teams are no longer able to buy their way to success, but must compete under the same conditions as all other teams. So why is it a problem specifically for Mercedes? Why is Mercedes struggling with the budget cap? F1 has put a limit on how much it can spend in 2021. The budget cap was put in place so that all teams would be on the same level. Mercedes, on the other hand, thinks that the cost cap is painful for them to work with. The most that any team could spend was set at $145 million. The amount was also cut by $5 million this season, bringing it down to $140 million. Some teams are happy about this, while other teams are having a hard time with it. The big teams are especially upset about how tight the budget cap is. This rule is broken by Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari, among others. But a rule is still a rule, so everyone needs to follow this rule. Toto Wolff, the head of Mercedes, said, "It has been very hard to set up the company and the organization in the right way to meet the $140 million cost cap. Also, when there is a lot of inflation and we are cutting 5 million jobs, we are in a situation where we can't raise costs or payroll. That hurts very much." Mercedes' growth was slowed by the budget limit. With the new changes to how the cars are built, it has been hard for the teams to get their cars ready as planned. It's been hard to stick to the budget and make important changes at the same time. Toto Wolff said more about the situation. The added pressure of the cost cap makes it very hard to change the car in a fundamental way because everything is planned, including every upgrade and the costs that go with it. Because of this, the budget cap makes it much harder for us to put creative ideas into the car. Before budget caps had to be put in place, top teams like Mercedes and Red Bull spent between $400 and $450 million each season on development. Smaller teams like Haas, on the other hand, could barely raise $100 million altogether. The sport wasn't as good as it used to be. The budget cap was put in place to make everyone more competitive and give everyone an equal chance to do well. Mercedes has won every Constructors' Championship trophy from 2014 to 2021. The German team has done very well since the end of the hybrid era. On top of that, Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg helped them win 7 Drivers' Championships. How is Mercedes performing this season? Technical Director Mike Elliott has talked about how the W13 has been giving Mercedes a roller coaster ride this season. The 8-time Constructors' Champions in a row made a car for the new F1 rules that made it impossible for them to win a 9th title in a row. Mercedes hasn't won a race yet in 2022, but Lewis Hamilton and George Russell are getting much better results than they were at the beginning of the season, with podium finishes happening more often now. And because they can make the most of what they do, unlike error-prone Ferrari, Mercedes still has a chance to finish second to Red Bull, even though they are 35 points behind the Scuderia with 6 races left. One of the major talking points of the current Formula One season has been Mercedes' inability to compete with Ferrari and Red Bull. But why is the team so far behind? Throughout preseason testing, Mercedes warned the Formula One world that it was falling behind due to the difficult birth of the W13. But this was something the team had done on a regular basis during testing in the past, frequently showing up to the first race and going 1-2 on the grid. However, Mercedes has not lined up 1-2 for the season-opening Bahrain Grand Prix. Instead, Lewis Hamilton qualified 5th fastest, followed by new teammate George Russell in 9th. Valtteri Bottas qualified 6th, a record. For the season opening, Hamilton was roughly 0.7 seconds slower than pole sitter Charles Leclerc, with Russell falling even farther behind following a mistake. But why is Mercedes having such a difficult time in F1 2022? Is it something that the team can work on? The bouncing that has harmed the car is the underlying reason for Mercedes' struggles in the new F1 season. The ground effect has returned to F1 after decades away as part of the new technical rules. To create downforce, you want to keep your automobile as close to the track as possible. However, as the Mercedes gains downforce at high speeds, its ride height decreases. This reduces airflow beneath the car, causing it to rise somewhat. The car then lowers again as it picks more downforce, restarting the cycle. It is also referred to as porpoising. Most of the teams have been affected by it in testing, but Mercedes is having the most difficulty with the W13. What is Mercedes capable of? Mercedes feels its zero side pod design machine has some underlying raw pace if it can be unlocked. In Bahrain, the team salvaged a 3-4 finish after the Red Bull duo retired late, despite being 40 seconds behind the leaders when the safety car was called following Pierre Gasly's violent exit. In Saudi Arabia, Hamilton qualified 16th, his worst result on pure pace since 19th at the 2009 British Grand Prix, while Russell finished 6th after the 7-time champion struggled with a loose rear end due to setup alterations. Russell was a lonely 5th on race day as the Ferraris and Red Bulls cleared off, while Hamilton could only manage 10th. Considering everything, what does the future hold for Mercedes? Mercedes-Benz is working hard to establish a sustainable image and has set a new objective to accomplish so. The company plans to create exclusively electric vehicles by 2030, which could have an impact on the brand's Formula One involvement. There have been discussions at a higher level regarding participating in Formula One, as this would be inconsistent with Mercedes' sustainable image. The ambition to go all-electric could imply that the brand wishes to exit Formula One and concentrate on Formula E. Will Mercedes still be in F1 in 2023? Mercedes-Benz will be all-electric by the end of this decade if the market allows, according to The Drive. This would mean that by 2030, most Mercedes cars, including AMG and Maybach, would be electric, with the possible exception of a few countries. We won't know for now how this news might affect Mercedes' Formula One team for a while. Almost certainly, the team will stay in the sport until the new engines come out in 2025. After that, they are most likely to leave. And that's it for today, guys. We sincerely hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please click on the like button and share it with your friends and family. If you have any questions or comments, please share them with us in the comment space below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see even more of our incredible videos. You can also check out our other videos that have been specially selected for you. We'll catch up in the next video.